All right, welcome in, everybody. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. Two-man show today. I think Bryan Leonard is traveling back east. I believe he's on his way back to Ohio, so he'll be back tomorrow. But we've got Trig somewhere in central New York, Tokyo Brandon somewhere in central Japan. Is that right?
Yep, that is correct. Correct.
Awesome. And yeah, we're here for the next hour to do what we do. Give out MLB info and hopefully most of it wins. So I want to get right into it, TB. It looks like the game that I always laugh. Do you guys have do you have to go on the subscription services to watch games in Japan, or is most of this stuff, how do you get all the games, I guess is the question, because in the States here, if you want to watch Twins Yankees tonight, I think you got to go to Amazon Prime, one of 5 streaming services we need to watch games.
Yeah, all the Dodgers games obviously are broadcast on national TV and get huge ratings. They also show a lot of Cubs games because there's Imanaga and Suzuki. Other than that, you have to go online and find them streaming somewhere. But
interesting.
We get a lot more access to stuff than Americans do because there's a lot of licensing stuff over there.
Yeah, I noticed that it's a little looser on the international streaming, no blackouts and stuff like that. I know MLB TV still likes to black your local team out. But yeah, the reason I bring it up is it looks like in the States tonight, if you want to watch Twins Yankees, you're probably doing it on Amazon Prime, at least unless you're in the local market. And, interesting series here, TB, because last week I talked about the Twins. Well, we all talked about the Twins. They obviously sold off their team at the trade deadline, right? 11 trades. I think it was a record. And Bryan Leonard brought up, hey, maybe this is a team I want to play against. I was sort of on the other side where I was like, well, I'm excited about some of these young players, and they had a good week last week. But are we seeing the Twins kind of become what they probably are the rest of the season at this point? They lose the first 2 of the series, and now they're looking at being swept at Yankee Stadium. So where are you at in the Twins, and how are you seeing this Twins-Yankees matchup?
So, yeah, the way I look at it, Schlittler's kind of unproven. If you look at how he's been, he's got a pretty high whip, pretty high numbers. Not a huge sample size to go on, but his whip is 166, which is not good. Looking at his splits, he's actually worse at home than he is on the road. And he's at home today against a really good pitcher in Joe Ryan. Looking at Joe Ryan's numbers against these guys, he has a 239 average against and a 699 OPS. As I've said in many shows, I'll say it again. 750 is kind of my line for OPS over unders. He's under that, so it means he's gotten the best of these batters. Minnesota did sell off a lot of their team at the trade deadline. 40% of their roster was actually shipped off at the trade dedeadline, but they're still hitting better than the Yankees, according to my numbers. In current form, I have them ranked 16, where I have the Yankees ranked 26. A lot of that current form is before Judge came back, perhaps, because since he's come back, I think he's gotten a hit in almost every game except one. So he's definitely someone to be worried about. The Twins bullpen is just absolute trash, though. I got them ranked 26 out of 30 in current form, where the Yankees is pretty good. This is how I would approach this. The Twins' first 5 plus 0.5 is only minus 120. I think that's pretty good value to take Joe Ryan against Schlittler when my numbers have the Twins hitting better in current form. I know the Yankees lineup is a little bit scary with Judge there, but I think that's a pretty good number to get at least a tie or a win in the first 5 with Joe Ryan.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd love to find a way to confidently play the Twins here. So first 5 makes sense. Joe Ryan is a stud. That's the one thing. I truly believe they ran out of time. I think if they had another day, they find a way to trade Joe Ryan as well. So the fact that they didn't is to their benefit for the rest of this year. He's still an ace. I think he'd be an ace on most teams in Major League Baseball. So no question to me, even with Schlittler's upside, which he does have a lot of it, I still would prefer Joe Ryan. If I was just putting those 2 head to head, I'm giving Joe Ryan the edge. Now, a couple things with the Twins here. You mentioned the Twins and their the way they're hitting. I don't think that's really a fluke, because the majority of moves the Twins made around the deadline was selling off relievers. So, you talk about their bullpen. Yeah, that's a concern. No bullpen depth, no high leverage arms. That's an issue. But they get Luke Keschel back. He's hotter than the sun, hitting 354 on the season in a limited sample, but he's been awesome. I still think Alan Rodin, a guy that they got back from the Blue Jays in a trade, is going to turn the corner at some point. But Byron Buxton was an all-star. He's back, right? Yep. He didn't play that first week out of the all-star break. And man, Twins fans got to just shake their head and just sigh when they talk about Royce Lewis, because this is a guy that I really thought he was going to be like a star at one point. And he's always hurt, can't seem to get it together. But, they dropped him in the order. He's down there hitting like 6th or 7th now. It's not a bad lineup. And then you want to talk about pitching today, the bullpen being an issue. Well, this might not be the worst day for the Twins bullpen-wise, because yesterday they went with Travis Adams, and then Thomas Hatch pretty much cleaned up and pitched like 5 innings. So they really didn't use any of their big-time bullpen arms. Mm-hmm. So what I think you might see here, TB, I think you might see Joe Ryan. I think they might have Pearson Ole potentially pitch after him, unless they're good. Maybe they use him, because right now they're listing Bailey Ober as the starter for tomorrow. So I think Ole is probably available out of the bullpen. That's pretty appealing to me. I think if you get, because he's been pretty good. He's one of their better young arms at this point. I think if you get Joe Ryan and Pearson Ole in this game, that's very appealing from a pitching standpoint for the Twins. And then it's just, can they put some runs together? Well, they haven't hit all series. So I don't know. Maybe it is here. You give me Joe Ryan plus 120. I don't hate that. And I agree with you. First 5 makes a lot of sense.
Here's one more stat to throw in before you go to the next game. Joe Ryan on the road in 60-plus innings has a 2.55 ERA. I understand ERA is not the tell-all sign of a good pitcher, but if you go 60 innings, only giving up 2.5 runs in those starts, that's pretty good. Granted, it wasn't all against the Yankees, but still, just a thing. He's not a bad road pitcher, just to throw that in.
That's a great point. And I don't think Joe Ryan gets enough love, if we're being honest. I don't think he's ever got the love as an ace. And I really, truly believe he'd be an ace on 2/3 of the teams in the league. So Jack Barco was the comment I pulled up. He said, anyone think the Twins can take the game with Ryan on the mound? I think TB and I both think the Twins could take this game with Ryan on the mound. And also, Jack says, not normally up this early, can't do it, bad accident, so I'm at the doctor. Means I get to watch my favorite show in the world. We appreciate you. Listen, Jack, we wish you were here under better circumstances. I hope everything's good and whatever the accident was, you take care of. But we love having you live here. So shout out to Jack. Hope he feels better. That sucks, but we love having you live. Go ahead.
Someone else left a comment that usually they can't watch the show live, but today they're watching it live. I can't find it right now. So it looks like we're going to have lots of live viewers. So that's great. Excellent. Thanks for watching, guys. Adam, do you have a play out yet today?
I do, actually.
So do
TB, I've got a 5% play. I hate bringing it up. I let Travis in the chat bring it up, and I'm just going to leave it there. I'm on a good run right now, though. I'm on a good run. Let's put it that way. I don't want to jinx it, but I've got an MLB play I love, and I made it a 5% or so.
Great.
Check that out on my page. Awesome.
Yep.
And
so go to
I'm just trying to keep up with you. I'm just trying to keep up with you.
Well, people might not know this, but when we put a 5% play out, Wager Talk makes us put a free play out as well. So I'm sure Adam has a free play out.
So I'm glad you bring that up, TB, because what I'm going to do is, so my 5% play happens to be one of the games that goes tonight. Anything I play, whether it be AAA, whether it be MLB, any client play I have for the afternoon session, which I'm sure there will be one because there's midday AAA games as well, I will post for free on my page. So make sure you're going to Wager Talk has organized this for you into a free picks tab. So if you go to the Wager Talk website, you can just click free picks and see all the free picks. But if you go to the capper page, they're nicely organized underneath the sale place or the sale brick. So check that out, Adam, for all the handicappers. Yeah.
It's just you and me. I have a free play up as well today. It's just you and me. So I'm going to, I can't do the comments, but Jack Barco just made a comment. You're getting a lot of love for your 5% win the other day with the Rays. You got a lot of love yesterday, and today they're still loving it. That must have been an amazing An amazing cap you did there.
So why don't we do this, TB? Because I think there's a segue somewhere in here. I want to talk about Rays A's because I guess like I see some similarities between. So Monday night I made a 5% play on the A's. It was even money, and the reason I thought it was such a bad, just such a good spot for the Rays, and Jack saying, bad line by the books. The A's were coming home from Baltimore, right? They just spent the whole week in on the East Coast. They played in Washington, D.C. They played in Baltimore. No travel day. They had to come home and play on a Monday. And as we kind of know, and as we've kind of highlighted, it's not really coming home for the A's. Like, they come back to Sacramento where they play their home games. But I think it's important to point out, like, they haven't embraced Sacramento, and Sacramento really hasn't embraced them. It seems like Sacramento area is mostly Giants fans. Of course, Sutter Health Park is where the Giants AAA team plays. So I'm sure, they get a lot of Giants fans because of that. And the A's have done nothing to like embrace being there. It's almost like they've insulted the city of Sacramento in a lot of ways by talking about how much they don't want to be there. And then I pull up just the record. If you go look at your standings page, I mean, the A's are like 24 and 30. They're like 11 games under 500 at home. They've actually been better on the road. So I kind of like the Rays here. The only difference is now I'm having to pay minus 130 for the Rays, whereas on Monday in like a similar spot matchup, like what I thought was a good matchup for them, I was getting them an even money. So talk to me about this one. You got Rasmussen, Ginn. Like, I see an edge here for the Rays, but now you're being forced to pay for it. How are you looking at this one?
Yeah, let me mention the guys in the comments telling God bless you. You guys are great. Love your show. Thank you for all the love you guys are giving us, because if you weren't watching our show, then Wager Talk would cancel us. So thank you for watching. And go to a replay and leave the comments and let Wager Talk know that you like us, because we're not as popular as the football guys. So well, Adam does football, but I don't. So anyways,
barely, but yeah.
So now that football season's coming up, they're pretty focused on football. So give us some comments and let Wager Talk know that you love our show on the replay. So regarding this game, man, the A's are just hard to bet against, especially in this stadium, because they're just crushing the ball. We talked about this all season long on this show about how they've got probably the best young nucleus of players. If they can keep this lineup together, by the time they're in Las Vegas, they're going to be like playing in division championships and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, they're good. But unfortunately, their pitching is lacking a little bit. And Ginn, however he says his name, is one example of, I mean, if they're starting this guy, their pitching is in shambles, because this guy's bad. He's just not a good pitcher. And so, I mean, I know his ERA is only 4.39, but he's actually not that good, in my opinion. I've seen him, and I don't like what I see. However, the problem with taking the Rays here, and Rasmussen has really good numbers against the A's today. Let me pull up my newsletter numbers. Rasmussen has a 211 average against and a 739 OPS. So both of those are within, he's getting the best of them atmosphere. So I would love to take the Rays here. The problem is they're just not hitting well. And, but what can wake up the bats better than going against a guy like Ginn, right? So, look, I got the Rays bullpen ranked 3 in all of MLB, and I've got the starting pitcher Rasmussen on a curve of 30 ranked 5. So, man, they're top 5 in everything except hitting. I got them ranked 20. So, do you think Rasmussen can hold down the A's bats while Tampa scores a few on Ginn and this below mediocre bullpen? Probably, but I'm not going to bet it.
TB, I love that you brought up the Rays bullpen, because I truly believe right now, like if we're just talking right now going forward, this is like a top maybe 3 bullpen in Major League Baseball. I love the fact that they went out and got Griffin Jacks. So we talked about the Twins sort of shipping some of their best relievers out to get guys in return. That was one of the guys that the Twins traded, and that was a tremendous move by the Rays. I truly believe like having him and Fairbanks down there at the back end of that bullpen, and then just all the other arms they have. that maybe don't get the credit they deserve. Like even like a guy like Ian Seymour, who's a little bit unproven, or Edwin Uceta, who's, you know, kind of pitched some big innings of late. Like the Rays, historically, we know this team, when the Rays are good, their bullpen is awesome. This year, they haven't been as good full season out of the bullpen, but that was something they really addressed at the trade deadline. And I think the rest of the way, the Rays are going to have one of the best bullpens in the league. They've already creeped into like top 10 on the year. And I think it's worth pointing out that they're like making up for lost time. This was not a top 10 bullpen for like the first half of the season. They definitely underachieved. Another thing you brought up that I very much agree with, and this will be what kills this Rays team this year. The lineup just lacks. Like there's no pop in this lineup. I love Caminero. Like he's an awesome player, but 1 to 9, they really lack like big time pop in this lineup. They kind of have to string it together. The bottom of this order is very weak in my opinion. Like, so it really takes like a timely hit or two for them to score. And, you know, JT Ginn, like I'll defend JT Ginn a little bit. I don't think he's bad. He just hasn't put it together at the big league level yet, because this is a guy that has shown a lot of promise in the minors. He was a very high draft pick, I believe, for the Mets. I think this was a Mets draft pick that was a high draft pick, and he came over in a trade last year for the Mets. I forget who they got in return for him. But point is, like, he's got the pedigree of someone that should be a good starting pitcher in Major League Baseball. He gets ground balls. You know, he's got a very live fastball. Good fastball, good movement. He just hasn't put it all together yet at the big league level. So be that as it may, I think it's worth pointing out he hasn't put it together, and you know, maybe he gets himself into trouble a little bit at times, which could happen here. Now, Drew Rasmussen is bordering on an elite starter in Major League Baseball. I think that's why the Rays are minus 130 here. And then you have to decide, do you want to pay minus 130 because you know you're paying a premium? Yes, you're getting the better pitcher, no question, Rasmussen, but you still need the Rays to hit. And then to your point, TB, the A's are all young guys that can really rake when they get going. And it's almost like, do you want to even, you know, do you want to step in front of it? Because when the A's are hitting, it can be a thing of beauty. So it's a very interesting game. I'm glad we brought this one up. I think the Rays are probably the look here, because I do think you have a nice pitching edge, but it's not, you know, I don't know that this will make I don't know at minus 130 that I'm going to like this play the way I did on Monday when I got the A's at even money, or the Rays at even money, I guess is the point.
Right.
Okay. I gotta go to the, there was one in the chat. We have to bring this one up because, you know, people are in the chat saying, don't, you know, this is their favorite show. We appreciate that. I'll tell you what, TV, yep. I don't do Wager Talk Today very often. But the people on Wager Talk Today are probably like, who's this Trig character who came on and talked about the Pirates yesterday? And then they lost by 2 touchdowns. And Travis says, yeah, maybe the Pirates should put Triolo in the pen. He's talking about Triolo, the shortstop, because they continue to leave guys down at AAA that are probably better than the guys that are on their big league roster. But man, a couple touchdowns for the Brewers yesterday. This team doesn't look like they're slowing down at all. Yeah. What do you even do with this today? Can you step in front of it, or do you just have to admire what they're doing?
Well, since Woodruff's come back, he's been awesome. And today they're facing Mitch Keller, who is 3 pegs lower than Skeens, who they faced yesterday. Look, if this team can crush Skeens like that, look, on the show, I'll be the first to admit, total transparency, I was way wrong on my cap for that game. I thought Skeens was going to hold them down and that it was going to be an under. I think my parlay piece yesterday was, no, maybe it wasn't. Anyways, I had Pirates first 5 plus 0.5. I was all in on Skeens. I thought he was going to shut him down. Nope. I was totally off yesterday on this game. And so, look, what makes people more intelligent as time goes on, what gives you wisdom is to be able to adjust your way of thinking according to what you have experienced, right? That's why older people have more wisdom than younger people, because they've experienced more stuff and they act upon that wisdom. So I'm going to gain wisdom by yesterday's game and not bet against the Brewers anymore. Now, the Brewers went on this huge winning streak when I torched them on this show. When they lost a series to the Mets, I said their season is done. And then they go on and win, 20 out of 30 games. So now that I'm talking them up, they're probably going to go on a losing streak. But anyways, let me just break the game down real quick. I got Woodruff ranked very high out of 30. I got him ranked 4 on a curve of 30. I got Mitch Keller ranked 17. Milwaukee's bullpen slightly better than Pittsburgh, but negligible. I got him Milwaukee 12, Pittsburgh 15. Pittsburgh's bullpen's actually pretty good. And then batting, I've got Milwaukee ranked 4, and I got Pittsburgh ranked 19. So put all that together, Milwaukee is 10 points better than Pittsburgh on the overall rating, which means it's definitely a play on. Maybe even take a -1. But let me see. Do I have Woodruff's stats? Maybe there wasn't a good enough sample size. No, there's probably not a good enough sample size. There is a good enough sample size. Woodruff, 153 average against and a 520 OPS. That's 200 points below what I consider dominating hitters. Mitch Keller, 326 average against and an 869 OPS against the Brewers. So every single arrow points to Milwaukee. And you know what happens when that happens? They lose. So. Yeah. But no, I mean, you can't bet Pittsburgh in this game. You just can't. I mean, the only way you could bet them is on a hope or a lottery ticket.
Yeah, listen, after I picked my jaw off the floor yesterday as I was watching Skeens just get pummeled, I started to think about, like, you know, the Brewers theoretically, and the way we do this as handicappers, Brewers sweep a big series against the Mets. They've now won, what was it after that series? They had won 9 games in a row heading into this series with the Pirates. So I think as handicappers, we've done this long enough where we train ourselves to be like, okay, now they're playing a lesser team. There's probably going to be some sort of a letdown. And I think I know myself and Bryan kind of brought that up on Monday when you could have gotten them +1.5. And the more I watched that game yesterday, the more I started to think, you know what? This is sort of a unique situation where the Pirates were due for a letdown as well, right? Like the Pirates actually came in, and I've talked about Pirates management and leaving guys like Cam Devaney in AAA and some of their better they've got players in AAA, even bullpen arms that I think should be on this team. Yet the Pirates, in spite of their front office decisions, they came in. They finished July winning 8 of 9 games, and then they came in to this series playing pretty good ball. So the Pirates are actually probably due for this drop off as well, because they're doing it really very much in spite of some of the decisions their front office has made. And so you almost had to look at that and be like, well, how long can the Pirates do this as well? And so I think this was just a unique scenario where the Pirates were like almost just as hot relative to like where they are in the standings as the Brewers. And they came in and they just, now we're seeing the Pirates for what they are. So I don't know that I want to go against the Brewers here. Where I will try to go against the Brewers probably, TB, is this weekend when they have to go to Cincinnati, because suddenly that's a Cincinnati team that is desperately going to need those games. And that's a Cincinnati team that's a good ball club. And I think that's where the Brewers might lose one. I don't know if I want to do it here because the Pirates feel like they might be in a little bit of a free fall mode off of a good streak as well. So, and now you got to think the Brewers too internally now are like, let's run this up. Let's see how long we can get this going. They look like they're having a blast. Yeah, unknown entity says ride the train. You might just have to ride that train.
Yeah.
Right now.
I mean, in gambling, you never, I don't know, Adam, if you're subscribed to this theory, but you never bet the something is due theory. It never works. What you do is you ride a streak until it's done, right? Generally speaking, not always, but generally you want to ride a streak till it's done. Man, the Reds, though, I agree with you on the Reds. Man, they killed me yesterday. I had the Phillies as my $5 play, and the Reds really surprised me. They're a pretty good team.
I want to talk about that one because, Reds yesterday, I thought it was an okay spot for them. Jabroni says Cincinnati's a good ball club. I don't understand I'm not picking on him because he brings this up. I feel like there's a lot of Reds hate, and I like just from the market in general, from people I see talking on gambling Twitter, and I don't understand it. The only thing I can understand, the only reason that makes sense to me would be like I know a lot of sharp people were very high on this Reds team coming into the season. Okay, so like maybe they haven't become like maybe they're not going to win this division. But Tokyo Brandon, this is still a team that's 63-58. They're 5 games over 500. At one point, you talked about them, as a team that you thought was going to be really good. I still think they're really, I still think they have the upside of a team that could be really good. Now, are they going to catch the Brewers? No. But they're 2 games out of a wild card spot. Do you think the Reds are a playoff team this year? I'll put you on the spot. Are the Reds making the playoffs this year?
Well, their pitching lacks a little bit, so I think that's their problem. And their bullpen is just atrocious. I mean, I got them ranked 27. That's in current form, but I don't think I've had them ranked higher than 20 all season. I don't remember. Maybe I did, but to win a 7-game series and to compete against teams like the Astros Astros are American League, to compete against the Dodgers and the Phillies in the playoffs, you're going to have to do something about your bullpen. They can't perform like that and win. But can they make the playoffs? Absolutely. Green's back today after a little hiatus. If he pitches as well as he can, he's a strikeout master. If he can get back to that 10 strikeouts per start and not expose the bullpen too much, yeah, because their lineup's not bad. I got their lineup kind of toiling in mediocrity, as I like to say. I got them ranked 15, but I only have the Phillies ranked 11, so they can make the playoffs, but I don't think they can get too far with that bullpen.
Now, let me follow this up. You liked the Phillies yesterday. It didn't work out. This doesn't look like the worst spot to come back with the Phillies. Have you thought about Phillies today?
Oh, absolutely. Phillies are a bona fide championship contender. They usually are year after year, but man, they got so many. See what makes a lot of people maybe who don't watch baseball as much as you and I do, maybe don't realize, but what makes a good team great is the fact that can they produce when their stars are not producing. So like the Phillies, if Schwarber and Harper are not hitting, do they have guys to pick up the slack? They absolutely do. And that's why the Dodgers are so dangerous despite their horrible bullpen, is because when Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman are not producing, because for some reason it seems like those 3 guys all have bad games on the same day. But then Teoscar Hernandez and Pages, they pick up the slack. So teams that can do that can win, but teams like Cincinnati maybe can't. So, who's their 7, 8, 9? Can your 7, 8, 9 carry the team when 1, 2, 3, 4 are not producing? So Phillies can, Reds can't. So that's the difference between great and good, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'll answer my own question before I give my quick handicap of this game. I don't think the Reds make the playoffs, and it's only because of the caliber of team that's in front of them. Because I look at I'm looking at the standings. I'm like, okay, theoretically, the 3 teams that they're going to have to beat out for a playoff spot are the Cubs, the Padres, or the Dodgers, I suppose, and the Mets. And even though I'm still a Mets believer. We'll get to that later. They had a good game last
Mets
night.
and Cubs are faltering, but the Padres are catching fire again, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm still a Mets believer. We can talk about that later in the show. As far as this game's concerned, Hunter Green. Yeah, they have. Yeah, we'll get to that one in a little bit. But like as far as this game is concerned, like Hunter Green's been he's been rehabbing for the past month, pretty much. Like, so he had started his rehab post All-Star break. He made 4 starts. Got to be honest, wasn't impressed. Like he got roughed up a couple of times at AAA.
The comments are saying that right now. Turnbuckle Tommy said he gave up 5 runs in his last start.
Now he still managed 7 strikeouts in his last 2 AAA starts, but a lot out over the middle. I mean, that took, he pitched against Toledo. And so here's some AAA perspective for you. Toledo and Omaha right now do not have great AAA lineups, just where they're at in the season. they're two of the lower rated lineups in the International League right now. And I mean, they kind of, Toledo bombed them the other day. So now to your point, the Phillies, I always say this about the Phillies. I prefer this team the way they stack against right-handed pitching more than left-handed pitching. Even though a guy like Kyle Schwarber has like the highest OPS in the league against left-handed pitching, I still prefer the Phillies against righties because Harper is better. You got some of those left-handed guys like Stott that they're gonna platoon a little bit. So I gotta be honest. This might be. I'm like thinking about throwing this one in the parlay. I really like Sanchez. He's a he's you look at his StatCast page. He's pitching run value as rated by Baseball Savant StatCast 99th percentile, top 1% of starters in Major League Baseball. Expected ERA for Christopher Sanchez is actually like where it's supposed to be. So some of these guys that have a good season, you go and look at their expected ERA. Sanchez is right in line where it's supposed to be. So you know what? Let's do it. I'm going to do it. Let's go Phillies. Parlay leg for me, Phillies money line. I think you were a day early on the Phillies TV. I think you should go back to them today in some capacity because I just want to get a line here and quote the correct. I think it's like minus 130 ish. Let's see.
I don't have anything up right now.
I'm just going to pull up two books real quick and double check that. Oh, and hold on. Even better. They the Reds have taken some money. That doesn't surprise me in the least because the Reds take money almost every day. They've taken money the last 2 days in this series, and they're going to take money again today. I'm still going to do it. I just want to make sure. It looks like minus 115. Let me just double check. I'm going to check.
While you're checking, let me throw out my rankings for the Phillies. I have the Phillies. I have Christopher Sanchez ranked number 3 on a curve of 30. He's pitching amazing, lights out. I got the Phillies bullpen ranked number 2 in all of MLB, where I got the Reds ranked 27. So hitting, I have Phillies 11, and I got the Reds 19. So Phillies have every advantage here. The one thing that scares me is Sanchez has not real good numbers against these batters in his career, but this year he seems like a different guy. I've never really been a Christopher Sanchez fan, but this year he's kind of changing my attitude. I've changed the way I look at him.
Elite changeup. He's really becoming one of the premier sort of left-handed starting pitchers in the league. I'm with you, TB. A couple of years ago, I was out on this guy, and he's made me a believer. He's made me a believer. All the underlying metrics suggest he is what we see from him. Like there's nothing there that says he should regress. And I want to go back to one more point you made that's very important. The Phillies, not only has their bullpen been better, but it should be better because they went out and addressed that need at the deadline. They brought in Johan Duran. They now have an elite closer. And there were some other guys in that bullpen that were underachieving early in the season. So you talk about, you bring in your 9th inning guy. Now you have some of your other bullpen arms kind of pitching to what they should be. It's actually a pretty good bullpen. So let's do that. I'm going to call it minus.
Could be the best. Could be the best in MLB, perhaps.
Hey, when we don't, I wouldn't. That's not a terrible thought.
Not a stretch.
When we get to playoff time, and the Phillies are coming in with Johan Duran in the 9th inning, and they kind of figure out who their 7th and 8th inning guys are. Yeah, I'm with you. This is a team that is. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say they're heading in the right direction, and their bullpen is sort of climbing my rankings as well.
And I thought the Padres had the best bullpen after they made some acquisitions, but honestly, their closer's not performing that well. He's, they put him in with a 2-run lead. He always gives 1 run up. So it's like, that's not what you want from your closer. You want your closer to be a shutdown guy. And man, the Phillies closer is shut down. I think they might have the best bullpen in MLB, at least right now. I thought it was the Padres, but could be the Phillies.
No question, they got the best reliever at the trade deadline. Getting Johan Duran, that was in my opinion, that was the best reliever out there. They got him. So
the Dodgers needed to do that, but they didn't.
And you could say Mason Miller, so on and so forth, but I just feel like Duran's as the most proven, the most like he's pitched in that spot for the Twins for years. So I am we'll move on from this one, but I'm putting that in the parlay. So that is
sounds good.
And Mr. Finn, yeah, he says Philly's best bullpen. Don't know about that, but definitely improved. I think that's what we're talking about. Like,
could be the best.
The improvements that they made, and now looking forward, I think they're going to throw their hat in the ring as like an elite bullpen arm. And
could be the best. If they're not the best, who is? Name them. Just tell me.
The Phillies will be my parlay leg for the day, and I'm going to call it -120.
Sounds good.
I want to go to, so you talked about the Padres. This is a good segue here because Inky in the chat says, San Fran's got a nasty bullpen. Yeah, those are two pretty good bullpens right there squaring off in this series. Tokyo Brandon, have you ever been to Taiwan? Have you ever been to Taiwan?
I have not. No, I have not. I've been to Korea, but not Taiwan.
The reason I ask is
because
girls
are good looking though.
That's not why I asked, but thank you for trying to look at that. The reason I ask is
really good looking.
Kai-Wei Tang, who will start this game for the San Francisco Giants today, is from Taiwan. And Kai-Wei Tang is a guy that pitched most of the year at AAA last year. And I got to be honest, was a gas can. I mean, he got absolutely lit up at AAA last year. And to his credit, he has come back this year, and he has been a completely different pitcher. Like he has looked so different last year, this year in the minors that like it doesn't surprise me that they're sort of giving him a shot in the big leagues right now. So he was someone that cost me a few bucks early in the year in minor league baseball because I was betting against him. Yeah. And he is a different pitcher than he was last year. So Kai-Wei Tang on the mound for the Giants, but he's up against, I believe it's Pivetta here for the Padres.
Yes.
Talk about this matchup. As the chat has pointed out, two very good bullpens and two teams that are really in need of a win, especially the Giants. The Giants are at risk of playing their way out of this thing. Can Tang bring them back today?
I don't think so. The reason being, he's been pitching. I mean, what do we have? Eight innings total this season that he's pitched. He hasn't been terrible. He got clubbed by the Mets, and then he held down the Nationals. I haven't seen enough of him to make a real good evaluation on him, but I do know that the CPB, which is the league he came from, is a peg below KBO. Now we don't have to we don't have to get back into our argument about where KBO ranks, but let's just say something we can both agree on, which is KBO ranks below Japanese baseball.
Yes.
And CPB ranks below the KBO. So 100%. We could probably agree that the CPB might be around single A, perhaps.
I can agree. I can get down with that. The Taiwan league's definitely worse. Yeah, I can get.
We're not going to start again, but anyway. So he comes from a very low level league, but that you can find good guys from that league. I mean, there have been guys from Taiwan who have played well here in Japan. Not a lot who have played well in Major League Baseball. The thing about this game today, though, is I have the Padres ranked 9 or better in every category across the board. I mean, this team is just firing on all cylinders right now. Batting ranked 9, bullpen ranked 6, starting pitcher Nick Pivetta ranked 9 out of 30 on a curve of 30. The thing that scares me, though, is Pivetta has actually not been that great against the Giants batters in his past. And also a thing that scares me off is the Padres have just not really crushed them. What was it, they've won 2 games in a row, like 4-1 or something like that. They've shut them down 2 games in a row. Winning 3 in a row is really hard. I'm generally a guy who takes each event as its own single event, and I try not to be too biased about what happened yesterday. But it really is hard to win 3 in a row in Major League Baseball. So that kind of scares me, along with the fact that Pivetta doesn't have the best numbers against these batters. But the Giants rank 24 in batting. Their bullpen ranks 11, and I don't have Tang ranked because he hasn't pitched enough innings yet. So Tang's kind of an X factor. I think the Padres are better than the Giants at everything. And I think what we're probably going to see is another 4-1 win by the Padres here, is what it looks like to me. I'm not going to bet it, though, just because there's 2 X factors that I don't like.
So if I was going to bet this game, and it is a thought, this was the other one I was kind of maybe going to put in the parlay, would be Giants plus 1.5. But Giants money line does make some sense. And you're right. The X factor here is Kai-Wei Tang. The guy I would be betting on is Kai-Wei Tang. Okay. Why I think he had improved so much from last year to this year is his pitch mix. So he basically throws 5 pitches. He throws them all roughly equally. And the fastball is like not the main pitch. So essentially he's throwing he's kind of throwing junk, like in a lot of cases. And I just don't think Major League Baseball's got so far in one direction in terms of like hitting velocity and being geared up for velocity.
Yes.
Look at some of these guys, TB, that are having a resurgence this year. Kyle Hendricks, right? Like,
and your guy,
well, who are you on?
Your guy, what? Corbin, your guy.
Yeah, because because he's just a veteran guy that can spot a curveball and stuff. That's a good one.
Yep.
One that comes to mind for me that you pointed out earlier this year was Chris Bassett, who's throwing like 8 variations of a fastball, but he's doing it in a manner that makes it very confusing for the hitter. So that's what you're going to see from Kai-Wei Tang. You're going to see he's going to throw a changeup. He's going to throw a sweeper. He'll hit you with a curve. They're all in like the 80s. It's all junk, but he does it in the zone, and he has confused minor league hitters to the point this year. Let me just read you guys. I want to read you his numbers at AAA Sacramento this year, where he's essentially spent the whole season. And this is a league, mind you, the PCL is a league that is offense forward, a lot of altitude. So sometimes he's pitching in Albuquerque or Salt Lake where he's got to do it in altitude. Here's his numbers in Sacramento. He has a 3.67 ERA, which is fine, whatever. He has a 1.1 whip, 1.11 whip, a 194 batting average against, and 86 strikeouts in 54 innings. 86 strikeouts in 54 innings, Tokyo Brandon. That's insane. Like,
isn't that the league where they score tons of runs in those tiny stadiums?
Okay. Yes, it is. And yes, you pointed out he got called up, and the Mets did get to him. And we'll tip the cap to the Mets. That's really should be a lineup that's better than they are. But last time out against the Nationals, a little bit of a step down. 5 scoreless, 3 hits, 1 walk. That's the other thing. He's in the zone a lot. So 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. I think he's going to confuse the hell out of this Padres lineup today. And for that reason, I think that this is one that'll have my attention. Like I said, if I give out an early, so what time is this game? I think is this a day game here, TB?
I'm in Japan.
Oh yeah.
No, right. Hang on. Yeah, it's early. It's an early game. It's early.
So
it's 3 p.m. your time.
Yeah. So this is one this is one that I'm kind of thinking of for a potential client play. I wanted to see if the Padres would take money because we talked about bullpen, but the Padres have used some bullpen the last couple of days. So even though they typically have I would say their bullpen's better than the Giants, they have used it some. I think if you can find Kai-Wei Tang props, if you maybe want to take a first 5, I think the Padres are going to be very, very baffled when they see him the first time through. And so maybe you find some value there. Go ahead, TB.
Here's one thing, 2 points to make real quick, and we can move on. But one thing about when you do sports betting a long time, there's certain things you pick up on. And when a team's facing a pitcher for the very first time, usually the first time around the lineup, he shuts them down. Usually. I'm not saying Tang's going to shut them down today, but usually if you've never seen a pitcher before, it's advantage pitcher. So that's just a sports betting thing that probably every professional capper knows in the back of his head. Here's another point is what you said. I like what you said about how the league has just become fireball throwing, not fireball drinking, but fireball throwing. And these batters they're expecting to see a bunch of sliders and fastballs. And these guys who are not great at anything, but good at a lot of things, they can excel because they can confuse batters, and batters are expecting to see 95-mile fastball and an 89-mile-an-hour slider. They're expecting to see that, and they see changeup, sinker, splitter. It's like, whoa. So yeah, he can keep people off their feet maybe for the first few innings. Yeah, and that's probably all he's going to pitch is the first few innings. So Maybe an
No,
under
I mean,
here.
I think he could. So he's been a regular starter at AAA. So if he's cruising, he'll go 5-6. If he's pitching well, like he'll
He
go
did
5.
in his last few. He went 5.
Yeah,
right?
he went 5 scoreless against the Nats. So that's one. Again, it's like that plus 1.5 is somewhere in the minus 130, minus 140 range. So for me personally, I'll have my eye on that. The Padres are a team that will take money sometimes. So if we get closer to the game time and that dips a little bit, I'll be looking at plus 1.5 there. But I wouldn't put you off of a Giants money line, just a value play. I think that's great value with the Padres having never seen this guy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's about all I have to say about that one.
Travis says, support these gentlemen. Hit the like, comment on the YouTube replay. Yeah,
and also
go ahead.
Grab Adams 5%, and I have an MLB play out too. And like I said earlier, Wager Talk makes us put free plays out every so often, and we both have one up today. So just take 10 seconds, go to our page, and at least look at our free plays.
Yeah, we very much appreciate it. And again, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, that I've been told by management is very, very helpful to us. It's free. Will take you less than 1 minute to go over to YouTube and just hit the subscribe button on our page on the Wager Talk YouTube channel.
Marcus, you're funny. Hit the like button, you filthy animals. Yeah, I like it.
Love that.
We're all filthy animals. Hey, we're all baseball.
Is that a Home Alone reference there, TB?
Probably, yeah. Our show is not for casual baseball fans. Our show is for baseball geeks like we are, people who eat and breathe baseball. So we appreciate you guys watching, and we always like you guys supporting us and giving us comments on the replay. Please do that.
Jabroni said he saw you missed Monday. TB, how was the drive? Is that like a great drive? I imagine like driving out to central Japan being like this great scenic drive.
Not really. I mean, you can see Mount Fuji from the freeway partway through, but in Japan, like Japan is basically half the U.S. population shoved into California. So, so even like the countryside is full of people. So we don't have any like when I went to the University of Arizona, I would drive back and forth Tucson and Phoenix. I would see no other car for 2 hours.
Sure.
You don't get that in Japan, even in the boonies of the boonies, there's someone standing behind you everywhere you go. So
yeah, a couple of years ago I did that drive. I did Vegas to Phoenix, that drive.
It's awesome.
And it is awesome. But there was about an hour stretch where I was like, if I like blew out a tire or something, I would be very, very concerned that I would not come back.
Hey, funny story that's not baseball related, but the hottest day in Arizona history, my car broke down while I was driving from Phoenix to Tucson. It was 123 degrees, and my car started smoking. It was funny. I'll save that story for another day.
There's like a stretch. Once you get past, I think it's Kingman, Arizona. Like once you get past
on the way to Vegas,
there's like an hour stretch where if you break down, you are in some shit.
There's no gas station. Yep. About an hour. Better have water.
Gas station, no service. You're pretty much flagging someone down that's coming at you 80 on a 2-lane, a double yellow line road, and hoping they're not.
You will see nobody passing you by. And us Arizonans, we know that always take water wherever you go. We all know this, but you snowbirds don't know that. So.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're probably right about that. I doubt I had a water bottle like in the car, but yeah, for sure. All right, Turnbuckle Tommy. I think, I got to, TB, I know the Cardinals lost yesterday, but I had already ruined the parlay with the over in the Diamondbacks game. And it's why I come on here and say, like, I that's why I don't handicap totals. That's why I don't try to bet totals. I was so confident in that game going over, and it ends up being a 3-2 final. I don't remember if it was Tommy, but someone was like, yeah, this is an under. I'm just going to like kick my feet up on this first 5 under. And sure enough, it was like the easiest under of the day. Props to whoever had D-backs Rangers under yesterday. You were right. That was a dead under, never close. But Turnbuckle Tommy says, do the Astros and Hunter Brown get it done today? He likes the Astros first 5. So I'll go to you, Astros, Red Sox.
Yeah. And, some of those games, we're sports bettors professionally. So we've watched a million baseball games, and by the second inning, you knew that game's not going over. You just knew it. Their bats were just limp. They're just like, I mean, you can just tell. as a sports bettor, if you have the over in that game, you're just like, oh God, I don't even want to watch this crap. In the second inning, you knew that was going to lose. So there's just times like that. You got the under and they score 10 runs in the second inning. Sometimes you just know it. But in this game, I love the Astros, and I'll tell you why. Hunter Brown is a guy who I had ranked top 20. I have him ranked top 20 almost all season. He's a stud. And his numbers, let me take a look at his numbers against this team. I don't have them memorized, but I know they're really good. Yeah, he's got a 222 average against and a 525 OPS against. That's amazing. Walker Buehler, on the other hand, against the Astro batters, 284 average against and a 780 OPS, which is not terrible, but that's when he was a good pitcher, and he's not a good pitcher anymore. So I think the Astros are just going to curb stomp Boston today. I got the Astros lineup ranked 4. I got Boston's ranked 9, though. But I think just Hunter Brown being a great pitcher is going to cancel that 9 out. I give huge advantage to the Astros in hitting. Neither bullpen's really that good. They're both 20 or worse. But I got Hunter Brown ranked a lot higher than Walker Buehler. So I think the Astros will definitely come back here. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to make this my parlay piece. Give me the Astros on the money line here for my parlay piece. Hunter Brown is just Hunter Brown's a great pitcher. He's great. There's good pitchers, but he's in the top level.
Yeah, for sure. I was once you started talking about it, in my head, I was like, yeah, I hope he just throws this in the parlay, because that's the thing. Like, he's another one. We talked about Joe Ryan earlier, but maybe even more so Hunter Brown. Like, he's another one the league sleeps on a little bit, or like the betting markets tend to sleep on him. Like, for whatever reason, and this is again, like, for whatever reason, the Red Sox are taking money against Hunter Brown. Now, I understand why the Red Sox, as a plus money underdog, would take money against the Astros. I think the thought process there as well, we'll throw the starting pitchers out. These two teams are pretty equal. I think a lot of people probably have the Red Sox rated ahead of the Astros, just in general. So I can understand why they're taking money. But, you want to talk about like a discount. I mean, Hunter Brown you pull up his underlying metrics, his StatCast stuff. It is all, I'll do it. I got it on my phone right here. You can barely see it on the screen. That's a lot of red right there, TB. You want to see red on this page, and all you see is red with Hunter Brown. I mean,
Buehler, a lot of blue. And some people in the comments are saying Buehler's been good lately. I don't see that he's been good lately. I don't see it.
No, he's been good relative to what he was earlier this year. That's for sure. And here's the thing, like, that's the thing with Buehler. People are going to look at him. He's got it in him because we saw it in the postseason last year. Okay. He's got it in him, but yeah, you want to talk about like expected ERA is close to 6. That's not very good. You've been all over his walks, like his command lacks again. It's been, you want to talk about him being better. Okay. He had a good outing against the Padres. 6 scoreless, will tip the cap there. He had a good outing against the Padres. Previous 2 outings, didn't get out of the 5th inning. He did throw a good game against the Phillies. Yeah, he's definitely been better, but like, I just think people sleep on Hunter Brown. I thought Hunter Brown might win. I thought at one point in time earlier this year, I thought he was going to win the Cy Young in the American League. He dipped for like a month.
Yes.
And then it's like, so, okay, he's out of that race because Skubal and Crochet are going to battle it out for that. But now, like, if you look at post All-Star break, he had that one bad start against the Mariners. It's been 5 innings, 1 run against the A's, 7 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts against this Red Sox team. Think they lost that game, but he pitched great. And then he pitched into the 6th inning in a win over. Well, he didn't get the win, but it was a win over the Yankees. They won in extra innings. To me, Hunter Brown, so much better than Walker Buehler. Astros get bombed last night. They've got the bullpen arms ready to go.
Coming back.
I agree with you. I agree with our guy, Turnbuckle Tommy. I think Astros are the way to look today. And go ahead.
After you're done. Sorry, I thought you were.
No, I was just going to say he likes Astros first 5. Can't talk you off that. Certainly makes sense.
Can't talk you off that at all because both bullpens are bad and not reliable in current form. But I have Hunter Brown ranked number 11 out of 220 pitchers. So he's still top 11. He was in the top 5 at the beginning of the season, like constantly. And then, like you said, he had a little blip. But this is a marathon. These guys are not going to be always good. Like Skeens yesterday got bombed. Nobody expected that. Scooble is the one guy who's yet to get bombed this season and might not get bombed this season because he's so good. But yeah, I don't see how you could go against Brown today.
Mark Kinson says, Colin, I'm willing to bet that Adams 5% play today is Mariners money line. It is not. I actually lean the other way. Believe it or not, I kind of lean toward the Orioles here. So I figured we already got the parlay locked in and we'll read it off at the end of the show. But I saw that comment. Yeah, I kind of lean toward the home team here, TB. I have my reasons why. I'm curious if you agree or disagree.
On the Boston or the Orioles game?
Yeah, Orioles Mariners. We'll finish here.
Okay. Yeah, Gilbert's great, but so is his counterpart. Rogers has been pitching. Rogers has been dealing. And one thing about Gilbert, he's been good, but he actually is. Let me see. He actually does. He has decent numbers against this team, but Rogers has been bombed by Seattle. The thing is, I think there was one red flag I saw about Gilbert. Let me check real quick. Maybe it was his, away. He's got a 5+ ERA away. So that was the flag that I got on Gilbert. And Rogers is a solid pitcher. So do you trust the Orioles bullpen? It's the question. If the Orioles bullpen can be solid, sure, they definitely have a chance of winning this game. Gilbert's a great pitcher, though. But, yeah, he's terrible on the road. And the Orioles are batting quite well. So, yeah, I wouldn't take Seattle, that's for sure.
Great illustration of how two people, myself, you, and you can throw 3 in there with Bryan, do things totally different. But oftentimes we arrive at some of the same stuff. Like, we don't rehearse any of this. We don't talk before the show. We literally get on here and just wing it. And you kind of made – that's probably the biggest point I would make in this handicap is that the Orioles hit the ball at home. Like this team rakes at home. This has been going on for a couple of years. They've been a much better team at home, not just win-loss, but WRC Plus has always been better at home. And it's always since the Orioles sort of called this crop of players up, what we'll call it like Rushman, Holiday, Westberg, Cowser, like the crew they have up there right now. They've been much better against right-handed pitching. And so you want optimal Orioles. Optimal Orioles are right-handed at home against a right-handed pitcher. And so even though Logan Gilbert is an elite right-handed pitcher, this is the subset that the Orioles thrive in. And Tokyo Brandon just pulled it up for me. His numbers on the road haven't been as good. So the Mariners are going to get priced as a top option. And that you're going to pay the tax for Gilbert. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to pay the tax? The tax meaning the premium to back the Mariners and back Gilbert when you're playing into the best scenario possible for the Orioles and you're playing into a guy in Trevor Rogers that's been hot. So that's kind of my handicap here. Yeah. I was hoping to get +1.5. I don't think that's going to be the case at -140. But again, this is kind of right there with the Giants where +1.5 is probably too expensive, but I do think you have like a good, solid value underdog. So I think let's put it this way. Here's the last point I'll make with this. I think if you were to bet the Giants and the Orioles today, you would make money because I think one of those underdogs is winning today. And so if you split, I think you'd still come out ahead. That's how I'll leave it there.
Possible.
All right, TB. Why don't you give the people one more solid promotion before we get on with the show?
You got it. Adam's being humble. I think he's number 1 the last 3 days in all of Wager Talk. I'm number 1 in 2025 in all of Wager Talk. So you got 2 of the best cappers at Wager Talk here talking to you. And Adam has a 5%er out, and I have a 3%er out. So grab those. And grab our free plays as well. We're good cappers, guys, and we do this day in and day out to promote our stuff, but also to give you guys some information. So not just to take free plays, but to actually take the information and be good bettors. So we're trying to educate you guys, and you guys educate us too, because we have probably the best crowd in all of Wager Talk. So thank you for that. Go to our pages, leave a comment on the replay if you would, please. Tell Wager Talk that you like our show.
Well, Steven says they got rid of a couple of their lefty batters. Yes, Cedric Mullins is no longer in that lineup, but they also get Rushman back. Like, you know, I think that offsets. They called up I think it was Jeremiah Jackson, who I haven't seen how he's done lately, but I guess I wanted to just address his point with the Orioles. I think it balanced out based on like some of the guys they had come back, but it's a good point.
I have the Orioles ranked 16 right now in batting in current form, but they've dropped quite a bit. They were up there pretty high.
Yeah, they had a bad series. I feel like I don't know if it was their most recent one. I'm just like going off memory, but what one series? Maybe it was against the Phillies. So maybe we'll give them a break there because the Phillies they have a pretty solid pitching. Yeah, they didn't hit against the A's really at all either. So that's concerning. They haven't really hit in the last week, but again, it's not my favorite play, but I still think you're paying a premium to back the Mariners. Yeah. I guess I'll leave it at that.
Can't disagree.
Okay. TB, our parlay. So a 2-teamer today. There's a theme here. It's us playing back at some sharp money on the underdog with very good elite teams and elite pitchers. So that's the theme of the parlay. We actually are getting a better price on this parlay now than we would have an hour ago, which I love. So I'm going to use Phillies money line. Tokyo Brandon's going to use Astros money line. It's that simple. Phillies Astros 2-teamer pays plus 210. Hopefully we've got our second parlay win of the week. And then when Bryan's back tomorrow, we can maybe hit a 3-teamer, but that's what it's going to be for today. That's what it's going to be for today. Astros, Phillies, 2-team parlay plus 210. We are at the hour mark. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Can't wait to have Bryan back tomorrow. Good luck today. Cash all your tickets. Yeah. Head on over to my page, grab the 5%er. We're rolling right now. Hopefully we've got another winner, and we'll see you guys in the morning.